Welcome to episode 89 of A to Z Sports Talk, where the 2023 NBA season has come to an end. And Zach, the best team, like it usually is the case in the NBA, was left remaining as the Denver Nuggets pulled it out in 5 games, which I think the majority of people expected. I don't
Mhm.
like going off of the year-to-year basis for naming who the best player in the world is, but I've seen enough to say Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world.
Yeah,
He
he's pretty
impressed me
good.
mostly, or most of all, I should say, defensively. He's always been
Mhm.
almost a liability if you get a switch on him. He can't keep up, but he has gotten himself, credit to him, in incredible shape.
Mhm.
It's really easy to make fun of the fat Jokic days, but if you
Yeah,
look at him now, like he's not fast,
he's
but
thick.
he's yeah, and he keeps up with guys a lot better than he did coming into the league.
Yeah,
And so credit to him, credit to the Nuggets um for winning. But Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I will be honest, I don't know if I watched really any of these finals except if they were on at like a restaurant I was at. But I kind of figured Jokic was just gonna dominate, which he did.
It wasn't the
But
best finals when it comes to competition.
yeah.
But I mean, I was thinking about coming in here and saying, well, if we look at how good their run was compared to other teams, but you can't really do that because the
Yeah,
Heat knocked off teams to get there. Credit Miami for
I
beating
know. That's why I
Milwaukee.
wish the Celtics would have made it because I think it would have been a way
Oh,
different series because they at least can score a little bit.
yes. That would have gone, I think, at least 6.
Yeah.
If Tatum's ankle held up and everything went into play there. Yeah, the Miami just didn't have enough talent.
Hmm.
Um,
Didn't they lose 5-1 in the Mickey Mouse year in 2020?
4-1, but yeah. Yeah,
Wait, what did I say?
5-1.
Oh, I meant 4-1. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
In the
think I
Mickey
looked
Mouse year,
at
yes.
they went 1-4 and I just added it together and saw a
Yeah.
5.
But yeah, I think that went 5. I always forget that year for some reason. And I think it was 5, but at most 6.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it was 5. But yeah, Denver wins in 5. We can get it started though with our Did You See It, and then kind of cover more about the finals and of course NBA draft next week. I'll start us off though. My Did You See It came in the tennis world in the French Open. Iga Swiatek, who's the number one woman in the world, and Novak Djokovic, who even if you don't follow tennis, you probably know who Novak Djokovic
Oh yeah,
is out
he's like
there.
the best, right?
He might, this is what I'm getting at. He might be the best ever now. And
Well, didn't he win the most Grand Slams?
yeah, he
So
now
I'd
has the
say he
most
probably is the best. Yeah.
he now has the most majors won ever. This was his 23rd major, passing Rafael Nadal, who had 22. He's 36 years old, I believe now. It's crazy how not only how old he is, but his style of play is how, and if you look it up, majority of people will say this. He's not so much known for explosiveness like who he was
Hmm.
playing, Carlos Alcaraz, who's 19 years old. But Novak wears you down. He's not afraid to rally for long. He's just in incredible
Hmm.
shape. He can just wear you
Yeah.
down, wear your legs out, and beat you that way. On the women's side, Iga Swiatek is 22 years old. This was her 4th major already. She's been number 1 for almost 2 years now. She's from Poland, and this was her 3rd French Open. For people that don't know, the French Open is held on clay courts instead of a normal grass or rubber court.
Mm.
And she has been running and just owning that style of play on that court for several years now. As I said, 3rd French Open, which is pretty remarkable. But on Novak's side, yeah, he might be the best ever now. I always thought it was Rafa Nadal, and Roger
Hmm.
Federer is up there. The guy he beat, Rude, and then is one of the
His
best in
name
the
is
world as
Rude.
well. Casper Ruud. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Ruud. And then the guy he beat in the semis, Carlos Alcaraz, who was number 1 in the world. They haven't come out with the new rankings yet, but Carlos is the guy. You've probably seen highlights of him, just explosive as can be, and 19-year-old Spaniard,
I'll
kind
be
of like
honest,
the
I
rough.
have not, but I'll be on the lookout.
All right. Kind of like the Rafi Nadal look-alike, but a
Yeah.
right-handed guy. So that was my did you see it? But what do you got, Zach? Oh,
I
really
got
quick, really quick. There is one other did you see it? And if you don't say it, then I'll pop it in at the end. But I'm sure I have a pretty good feeling you'll say it. Okay, continue.
um I don't think we talked about this last time, but Messi's coming to MLS. Is that what yours is
That
gonna
was
be?
it.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Greatest soccer player of all time is coming to MLS with literally a share of ownership with the team, a share of the Apple TV broadcasting, and he's gonna get paid a bunch, which he is the greatest person ever. So that's ridiculous. And he reportedly chose MLS over Saudi Arabia League, which they were going to pay him $1 billion over like 2 years. So that's crazy. Just keep getting billionaire. That'd be crazy. um, but it's pretty funny. He's going to Inter Miami, who like sucks this year. And before Messi signed, their followers on Instagram were 1 million, and then after, in like 24 hours, they're at 5 million. And then their
Jeez.
ticket prices on like July something, whenever it'd be after when Messi would be with them, it was like $39 was the average price, and now it's like 500 and something. So it's cool, especially for us in St. Louis. Well, not for me because I'm not in St.
Yes.
Louis, but you'll be able to see Messi come to the Lou.
Yeah, so I guess he's supposed to start in August. I think that's what I read.
Yeah.
And I think we play Miami in St. Louis in July, maybe. So we're not going to be able to
Mm,
see him this year.
yeah.
But imagine how quick those are going to go.
He's only
Um,
35 too. So like, and
yeah.
he's so good. He's just gonna dummy people in the MLS because the MLS, the caliber's not even close.
So did you say Miami's followers jumped up by 4 million?
Yeah,
I wonder what the MLS followers jumped up by. I'm curious to find out what that is because
I'll like look.
I think it's going to be phenomenal for the league.
Yeah.
I kind of am going to
Everyone
talk
keeps
more about
comparing
this.
it to like when David Beckham came over, but I'm like, it's Messi and David Beckham. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
it's not the
With all
same
due
caliber.
respect, he's not even in the same, not even this.
Mm-mm,
Yeah, he's just not even close.
no.
Yeah, Inter Miami
Um,
has more followers than MLS. They have 2.3, or MLS is only 2.3 million. So that's crazy.
that
And
is
then
unbelievable.
I got another. Did you see it? If I can find it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, University of Texas lost last night, because they lost the
Hmm.
pop fly and the lights, and Stanford walked off. So that is probably the worst way you could ever lose it. I would hate to be the outfielders in that situation. You're probably not doing great right now,
You
but that
posted that.
is,
I posted that clip on our Instagram story. I don't know if you saw that because I was like dumbfounded whenever I saw it. Like I was
yeah,
completely shocked. That's a terrible way of going
yeah,
out.
it's awful. And then, okay, I thought of another one.
Mhm.
Golf this past weekend at like the RBC Canadian Open. There was like a whole 4-hole playoff, and the winner drained like a 72 foot putt to win it. And then another PGA Tour golfer, Adam something, I forget
Hadwin,
his last name. What?
Adam Hadwin.
Yeah, he ran out there with his champagne bottle to celebrate with him because he's a good friend, and the security guard just decks him, and it's so funny.
So Nick Taylor won, correct?
Yeah, he won.
Because that was I think that's what the whole thing was about. So they're both Canadian guys, and yeah, that guy decked them. That's an
He got
awful
smoked. Yeah,
awful
it was
moment.
funny. But I guess that's
Um,
then my last. Did you see it? Is the U.S.
yeah.
Open starts this Thursday, third major of the golf year, first one since the Live PJ merger. So obviously there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. It's in L.A., Los Angeles Country Club, and U.S. Open is like the hardest um major of the year. It's always like the hardest. They showed a video on PJ Tour's Instagram where they dropped a golf ball in the rough, and the rough's just historically just so thick. They dropped the golf ball and you just don't even see it. So hit
Oh,
in
I
the
did see that.
fairways.
I didn't know what that was about. So is it always in LA? Is that why
No,
it's
it
tough?
changes every year. I don't know if it's ever been at this golf course before.
So what makes it always the toughest if it's
It
different
just always
locations?
is compared to the others. They just make it tougher. They just grow the rough out really thick.
Oh,
I guess they just say it's the US Open, so they want it to be like the hardest, most difficult one. Which one
got it.
year, this was a while ago, I think Justin Rose, I think it was in Pennsylvania at like Marion Golf Course or Golf Club, whatever the name, Country Club, some weird name.
Hmm.
Um, he won with a score of 1 over, which still
Oh
stands in my
wow,
head. No one shot under par, which was funny.
dang. Yeah, we're a golf and tennis podcast. I guess now
Oh, golf is getting
it's
golf is
picking
getting
picking
hot.
up for sure,
It's getting
for
hot.
sure. Back to the NBA though, where we kind of started this episode. Um, as I said, the Denver Nuggets win in 5 games, the NBA Finals. Nikola Jokic MVP. What I took from the celebration of it, I love how, and you've mentioned it before, but I love how Nikola Jokic carries himself. There's
Hmm.
something special about seeing somebody after they win a big title or championship show a lot of emotion, show that they care. There's something special in seeing that, but there's also something special on the other side, which what we saw with Nicola, he didn't even look like he was just chilling. They actually have a clip of him. They asked him about the parade they're going to have on Thursday,
Hmm.
and he like looked disappointed because he has to get home for some horse racing that he has this weekend. So I love how he carried himself. He made sure to go over and talk to pretty much every Heat player and every Heat coach
Hmm.
while everybody else is celebrating. So credit to him for sure. And this team moving forward in the upcoming years, if they can keep this core together,
Hmm.
like they're going to be in a really good spot. I see a lot of
Yeah.
people, and it's really easy to kind of jump the gun with this, say that Nikola Jokic is on his way to be a top 10 player of all time. Majority of the time, I kind of like to want to tend away from jumping the gun with
Hmm.
that. But how he's developing as a superstar, and I guess he's 28 or so, somewhere
Yeah,
around that
28.
range. He is a guy that I don't see that being a problem. Him being a top 10 player of all time. He's going to
No,
put
I
the
think he
numbers up.
could if he puts together like 5 to 8 more super good years like this and maybe gets another championship, another MVP. Like he already has 2 MVPs, right?
Yep, and almost a third this year. So yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, probably should have got the third, but they didn't
Hmm.
want to have
Yeah,
give him 3 in a row.
exactly. That's literally. I mean, Embiid had an unbelievable season, but even after he won, we all agreed pretty much Jokic is a better player. I mean, it
Yeah.
just even a better year in
I
a lot
also
of
think
ways.
Jokic is kind of becoming one of those players, kind of how Steph Curry was, where he's kind of changing the game in a way where big men can actually do more than just rebound and shoot. They can
Hmm.
be more like creators and playmakers, I
Yeah,
would say.
no, I agree with that. And I saw a bunch of people actually texting me last night. I had a couple people text me about how the NBA is in a bad spot because there's nobody that is the best player in the league that has that I guess personality or like super controversial like LeBron was for years or like
Mhm.
Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, those really personal guys. Jokic and Giannis to kind of go off of that, I think they're not those guys that are going to be super vocal, like the voice of the league type. But
Yeah.
on the European side, they are going to bring so many guys to the
Yeah.
league as being which I believe the two best players in the NBA. Also, I think Embiid's probably I would have to think about it a little bit more, but he's probably third or fourth there too. So there's three out of probably the
Yeah.
four. I would probably throw Curry in there. Three of the four best players in the world are
Luca.
international and Luca.
I
Yeah,
was
I mean,
just
I
about
mean,
to say that there's so many good international players when you kind of go through. Yeah, I know Porzingis is good. But he's not like top, but still he averages like 20 points a game. He's international. Then you got
yeah,
Wembanyama, France gonna be the number 1 overall pick.
yeah. Even I mean, I got a shout out. I got the Fred Van Vliet jersey on behind me here. Pascal Siakam being from
Mm,
Africa as well. So there's a bunch of players,
yeah.
which I think for to kind of differ. with that opinion of them not being the personality guy type, the vocal type. They're both good dudes that can run this league for years to come and kind of help
I do
expand it.
want the NBA to get back to like the 90s when teams just full out hated each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be very exciting.
Yeah, what I thought it'd be we get a little more of that this series because
Yeah.
Miami and the Nuggets kind of had that little beef a couple years ago, where
Yeah.
Jokic shoved Morris after Morris kind of clotheslined him pretty much in the middle of the floor.
Oh
Morris
yeah.
obviously,
Then his brothers were in there backing him up.
yeah,
The Jokic
those are
brothers.
two big
I bet they
guys,
had a
man.
great time last night.
Oh man,
They're
yeah,
probably still
you could
having a good
tell.
time.
Oh, for sure. One other stat with the NBA Finals I thought was very interesting. We kind of became numb and used to the whole LeBron and Cavaliers versus the Warriors for that, I guess, 4 year stretch, 5 year stretch. Um, the last five Finals winners have been five different teams: Raptors in 2019, Lakers in 2020, Bucks in 2021, Warriors in 2022, and Nuggets this year. This is the second time this has ever happened. It last happened in 1975 to 1980 when it was the Lakers, the Supersonics, the Washington Bullets, Blazers, and Celtics. So it just
I
shows the
like it.
league's in a very good spot when it comes to disparity and different teams can win it any year. So
Yeah, that's good. I think
moving
that
on to
means
the
the league's in a
NBA.
good spot.
Oh, definitely. I completely agree with that. Moving on to a little more of the NBA draft. I want to make sure we get into NHL and NFL. I mean, we're not NFL, but we'll talk about our next NFL team,
Yeah.
and the MLB. So let's really focus on the top three guys for this draft because I really think these three guys are generational, and I think in pretty much any other draft, all three could be number one picks.
Yeah.
I'll kind of post more because you'll be gone next week in Oregon, correct?
Hmm.
And I'll be in Canada.
Yeah.
So I'll post more next week about
When is the
um
draft?
the 22nd. And I will actually be at a Toronto Raptors watch party in Toronto, which
Are
is
you
going to
really?
be electric, by the way.
Yeah.
But
20, yeah, 22nd's the day I leave to go out to Oregon. So yeah.
okay. So next week I'll post a kind of a evaluation of some more prospects in the top 10. But in these top three, I mean, we have to start with Victor Wembanyama. He's a unicorn. He's going to be a one of a kind guy. All the weaknesses I see is obvious. He's very very skinny and
Very
kind
skinny.
of raw. If you could think of a comparison, what would you say? Because the one I thought of was Kevin Durant, if there was one.
Oh, I was thinking of just skinny, and that would be Chet Holmgren. Where it's like he could be really good, but I could also see him like breaking his leg in half and then
Mhm.
being a disappointment. So you gotta get him with Giannis's trainer.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'd
and
say
Embiid.
probably Kevin or like hmm, hmm, I guess kind of Kevin Durant or maybe a more athletic Dirk or a better Porzingis.
Yeah, the ball handling is what impresses me the most.
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen so many clips of him just bringing it up and really cooking guys, and then passing it back out and then recovering it in the post. Like he moves so well,
Yeah.
which I do believe he is the best overall talented prospect at this age that the NBA has ever seen. Um, and it's a weird year because the NHL has this with Connor Bedard too. Like these are
Yeah.
two, not just number one picks. These are two guys that a lot of people are saying, if they're not top three of all time, it's a bust type of deal, which you don't see that every year. The number two pick, which I think will be the number two pick, and we can kind of throw out our mock drafts later or early next
Hmm.
week. But Brandon Miller, from Alabama, he obviously had that drama going on there at Alabama, but he is an unbelievable talent, and he has kind of surpassed Scoot Henderson just a little bit for me. The main comparison I would have is probably Paul George. Is when I watch him, kind of long, lanky.
Hmm.
His
And shoot.
weakness, yeah, exactly. He can shoot, really good slasher, but he's not explosive like Paul George in that aspect. Paul George can go dunk on somebody. You're not going to see
Yeah.
that with Brandon Miller. But what do you think about Brandon?
I think he's pretty good. And also, I heard on like a podcast that in Alabama, they only emphasize threes and driving to the basket. And
Mhm.
they were saying that in high school, he was a lot more of a mid range guy too. So I think he's going to be a super good scorer. And he has length. I don't know how good of a defender he is, but I'm sure he could be good.
Yeah, no, being 6'9" helps there. Yeah, he's just got that really smooth release. I mean, I saw it, I don't want to say firsthand, but I saw it watching it on TV against Gonzaga, probably game 6 or game 7 of last year.
Hmm.
Drop 42, I believe it was. I mean,
Yeah, his
he's an
stroke is
unbelievable
nice.
talent. Yeah. And then number 3, Scoot Henderson, which shooting consistency is his main issue. But everything I'm seeing, man, this dude's a 18, 19-year-old Russell Westbrook prime D Rose caliber guy. And if I'm the Toronto Raptors, if you're in a rebuild, I'm trading because Portland's really interested in OG Anunoby. I'm trading
Mm.
OG. You could throw whatever in there and try to go up there and get Scoot Henderson with that number 3 pick. I keep posting it on my personal story because I want it to happen
Yeah.
so badly. But Scoot Henderson before Victor kind of blossomed on the scene here, Scoot was like right there too. Like these 3
Hmm.
guys, I see a lot of people comparing the Scoot Henderson and Victor Wembanyama to John Morant, Zion Williamson,
Yeah.
where the injury possibility is there. But what do you see with Scoot? Because I see a superstar.
Just a stud, just one of those fun guys that I think would be really good, but also at the same time, the Hornets and Blazers, to me personally, are like the worst spot for him because they both have Damian Lillard or LaMelo. So I don't know if one of those two. I think if the Hornets are probably dumb and will draft him. Because I think I think the Hornets should draft Brandon Miller because that'd fit them better. And then I also think the Blazers rather have Brandon Miller. So I'd be like, maybe the Blazers do trade and send him to the Raptors for Siakam and OG Anunoby and
Mm-hmm.
a couple first round picks.
I know that's what
And
I'm
if I was to
thinking.
Portland, I would take it because
Definitely.
they have like no depth, and that's what they need with Damian Lillard.
If you have Damian Lillard, so I think the Raptors could maybe pull it off without throwing OG and Siakam, but let's say they have
Hmm.
to. Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, OG Anunoby, Jeremy Grant, Pascal Siakam, Nurkic, like that's a pretty good
Yeah,
6-man, rotation there. I already have the Scoot and Scotty um
Scotty Barnes.
tag yeah, that little tagline,
Yeah,
Scoot and Scotty. I already have that printing on shirts. So I'm gonna need the Raptors to come through there. Um but yeah, those 3 guys are electric
yeah,
and
they're far and
I'm
above
very
everyone else.
I'm very excited to for the draft, but also to be in person with I don't have a lot of Raptors fans around me, obviously.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be kind of cool seeing an NBA city like that. Kind of watch that with them. Not saying that they are an NBA city because they are a hockey city. And moving on to hockey here, we are in game 5 of the NHL finals where Vegas is up 3-1 after winning game 5, 3-2, and that game finished with a huge brawl. I don't know if you got to see that at all. It
I did not see
became
that.
crazy very fast, and of course, you know who was in the middle of it, Matthew Kachuk, as
Chuck.
always. Um, but we saw Florida come back down, back from being down 3-1 against Boston in round 1. Can they do it again? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I have no idea. I just think the Golden Knights are just pretty good. They got such a good defense, just um, big physical defenders, which I guess the Blues did have Petrangelo at one point and kind of going away from it. But I think a lot of teams kind of want the more like, yes, their defenders can probably like pass and stuff, but a lot of guys are looking for the more smaller, quicker defenders who can do more on offense. But I think when you get to the playoffs, it's the same old thing that's been happening for years, just ground and
Yes,
pound.
yes, and the biggest storyline I'm taking from this is how crazy hot a goalie can get and just carry you in hockey.
Yeah.
Um, Aiden Hill for Vegas has been red hot, and he has just put him on his back. So I have Vegas winning tonight and ending it at home. I don't know how you feel about that. I feel like being at home gonna be pretty fired up. You came off of a huge win where you fought it out in game four. It's really gonna be hard for Florida. I'm not gonna say get fired up because if you're not fired up for the finals,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna get fired up for. But it's gonna be hard for them to come back this
Yeah,
time around. I think.
I don't see their streak continuing any longer. I don't know. I think it all goes back to them getting off a bunch of days. They kind of lost their mojo a little bit. Yeah, I'll say Vegas. You know what? I'll go Vegas in 6.
Oh, so you think Florida pulls one out
Yeah,
tonight?
why not? Yeah, I don't want two Miami teams to lose 5-1, 4-1.
I gotcha.
Um,
Yeah. I think I'll probably post. I said I was going to post a NBA prospects kind of evaluation, and then obviously our mock drafts. I think I
mhm.
might do that for the NHL too, because so many people are focused on Bedard, deservingly so. But there's a bunch of other prospects, probably up to 6 or 7, that it could be like number one guys in an organization. So,
I think
um,
we should trade everyone for Bedard. Why not?
the Blues have 3 first round picks for the first time
True.
in a long time. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. A couple late first
In
rounders.
hockey, though, a lot of first round picks, they don't play right away, right? Or do
No,
they?
there are a lot of them are young. Like Bedard will be here
Yeah.
immediately, and he's 18 years old. It's kind of not to the extent of the NFL, but it's kind of in that direction where they have to kind of grow into their bodies a little more
Yeah.
in comparison to NBA or I guess MLB. It's not so much growing into your body; it's kind of just developing.
Seeing
Um,
pitching, big league pitching.
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it's totally different. So I mentioned this off air, but how I didn't really want to talk about the Cardinals anymore. But you said we
Yes.
have to, and so we have to. But the Cardinals lost 2 of 3 to the Reds and lost game 1 last night to the Giants. Game 2 tonight with Jack Flaherty on the mound. We are now 27-40, Zach.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off. I was sitting and laying in bed last night and I saw that of course, like we do every single game, give up a run late to them, let them take the lead. And then I saw uh what did I see? Oh, I saw Jordan Walker's up. I was like watching on ESPN laying in bed. And then not even watching, like just watching the game cast, so super lame. And then I see he gets a hit. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'm like, all right, I turn on Bally Sports, and then immediately Paul DeYoung hits into a double play, and I'm like, go kill yourself, Paul
Yeah,
DeYoung.
it's been a long year, and more than anything, we're 7-16 and 1-run games. 7-16 and
No,
1-run games.
that's I was really thinking, um, like our team is good. Like if you look at our stats, like Arenado's up to 280 batting average. He's starting to hit a little bit. Goldie's hitting. Gorman's at like 250 something, but that's honestly kind of where I expected him. Just be that 250, high 250s, 260, just hit homers. But it's just like it's our fun, like the fundamentals and like the crucial part of the game, we just completely forget. Like
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh, Arenado made that error, which then led to them scoring like 4 runs, taking the lead. Or Contreras not being able to catch the ball or block the ball, or against the Reds when Ellie De La Cruz got to third. Um, and then Paul DeYoung not making had he didn't throw to the third base side to try to tag out Ellie De La Cruz, which we would have had him. And then also Contreras dropped the ball. And then
Yeah.
also in like key situations, I think I watched, I don't remember which game it was. Maybe it was Sunday. We I've never seen so many pop-ups in the infield in my entire life. I don't know why. I don't know what our approach is for hitting. I know I feel like this is every year some like we're mad about something, but I just try to hit the ball hard and put it in play sometimes. Like if you're a guy, if you're not Goldschmidt, Gorman, Arenado, heck, I wouldn't even put Contreras in that. He came out today and said this. He has like lost all his confidence. So that's great. I'm for sure the Cardinals had a part to play as we benched him for
Yep.
so however many games. It's just so frustrating because we should be good. Like on paper, we are really good,
Mhm.
and then when we play, we're like the Oakland A's right now, and we have Goldschmidt playing Arenado. We're literally at the third worst record I think in MLB.
We do.
Let me look because I'm getting heated right now. What's
Where's
our win
that spark?
percentage?
Where's that
No,
spark?
everyone looks like a sad puppy. In the dugout, we hit a home run. Everyone's like, "Good, just fire everyone. I don't even care anymore." Yeah, okay, we have a worse record than Colorado. Yeah, that's great. Worst record than the Nationals. Maybe we should keep Lane Thomas. I don't know. We have better record than Oakland. That's good. Um, Worst record than Detroit. Yeah, we have the third worst record in all of baseball. That is sad. Didn't really realize that.
What is it? Kansas City in between us?
Yeah, Kansas City's yeah, we have a pretty big gap between Kansas City and Oakland, but still, we have a 405 wait, 403 win percentage. We were 13 games under 500, still only 8.5 games back. Yeah, it's starting to get to like if we don't turn it around, I just say I don't even know. You got to trade some guys that are probably going to leave us anyway, and just because this is we going into the season, we said we should win by like win the series by or win the division by at like 10 games,
Hmm.
and we are horribly under wait underachieving. There you
Underperforming.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, underperforming. And then also another big thing going back to like I don't know if this is really fundamentals, but like our pitching and really just our clutch gene on both sides of
Hmm.
the baseball. We can't hit with runners in scoring position. We get bases loaded, we pop up the infield, like I said, or strike out. Can't even put the ball in play. And then pitching when it comes crucial, it's like, oh, let's what the heck? Let's just throw a fastball right down the pipe and see what happens. And then
Hmm.
it's just frustrating because we should be way better. And our pitchers haven't even been pitching like terrible. Our starters, really.
I think my
Sorry
biggest
for that like
question,
5 minute rant.
no, it's needed. It's needed. My biggest question is what's going to happen or what has to happen for change to be made? I
Yeah.
feel like we're at rock bottom 3 times this year. So what's going to happen to where it's like, okay, now this is when we say, okay, Mo, it's time to go. Ollie, it's time to go. I I don't know. My overall question for you, and I mentioned this off
Yeah.
air to you, that I had a big question for you. Credit to my pops for coming up with this one.
Thank you,
But
Mr. Nance.
what was the beginning of the change for the St. Louis Cardinals? For me, on in the short picture,
I think it's when they fired Schilt,
yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's
personally.
my short
I don't know why I
short
yelled that
term.
so loud, but
That's my short term answer as well. When we fired Mike Schilt after having that amazing
because then it
17,
makes no
18
sense.
game
But
winning
if you
streak.
think about it, because they fired him because they wanted to go with Jeff Albert's hitting thing, and then Jeff Albert leaves, or we fired him, or whatever, because he couldn't handle the heat. Um, Even though he was in the kitchen, which heat and kitchen like come together, and then now we got people I've never even heard of before. I don't know. Just get get LaRussa and Duncan back in there. I don't care if they're 90 years old.
Well, how about the big picture? So Schilt, I agree with you. I think Schilt was the short term, short picture here. The in the big picture, and my dad said this, and I agree with my pops on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was when Oscar Taveras passed away. We put Scotty Piscotty in a big role. We put Dexter Fowler. We traded Ozuna for,
Mm.
we traded for Ozuna. We traded Sandy and Gallen. Imagine having Sandy, Gallen, Flaherty, Michaelis, Wainwright right now. That's a
Yeah,
World
that'd been
Series
nice.
contending rotation.
Yeah, that'd been very nice. I did like Piscotty though a lot.
He was solid. He was solid. But we went from that team that kind of, and we still do to an extent, develop talent, don't really go for those big splash, but it seems to always work out, those scrappy guys. Then we tried the big splash, it didn't work. And now Goldie and Arenado are phenomenal, but I feel like it's almost trying to make up for all the mistakes in the past. And
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot of issues. It's not one of those situations where you point at one thing. It's easy to say, "Oh, Ollie, be better." It's Ollie's part of
Yeah.
it, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, there's a lot going on, but at the same time, I do think we're like this year sucks, but the future is bright, I will say. We have a lot of young guys. We got Walker. Now I'm getting optimistic, hyping myself up. Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, Tink Hence, the GOAT, Cepho. I have no idea how these guys are actually pitching in double A or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Herpy, even though his name's Derpy.
Hmm.
Um, what's the other pitcher we got a couple years ago, like a year
McGreevy.
ago? Yeah, McGreevy. Um, Mason Lucan Baker. I don't know. I feel like he needs to play more. Like if you're calling him up,
Why is
play
he
him.
here then? Yeah. Why
Yeah,
is
I
he
don't.
here if you're gonna
That's
sit him?
that's the stuff that's annoying with me. Like we have guys that we have up like Yepes and Burleson, who I think, to me, you gotta get them, send them. Even Moses Gomez, who's like raking AAA, send him. Because we got young guys. Let's just get some young pitchers or some proven pitchers because we got our position players. To me, I think we're still solid. Like we got Newtbar, Carlson. Who knows if O'Neill's ever going to play again because he's going to have a strained back for the rest of his life. We
Mhm.
got Goldie and Arenado, and then whenever they retire something, you can put Walker back in the infield. You got Gorman, Donovan, Edmund, and then Mason Wynn coming up. And I know I said a couple weeks ago about Paul DeYoung that I said I would keep him. Yeah, I wish we sent him off uh, a while ago. But I do have faith in our future is bright. Like literally every game, I'm like, all right, we're gonna have a winning streak. We're
I
gonna
know.
win. I don't know, but I just also thought of this too. I just keep like rambling, but
Mhm.
um, I feel like whenever the Cardinals have runners in scoring position, I'm just like, we're not gonna score. I just have this feeling that we're just not gonna score. But then whenever we're pitching and the other team is running runners in scoring position, I feel like they score every single time.
Yeah. I know exactly how you feel. It's I want to say we're at a low point again. We've lost 8 of our last 10. I said it earlier, what's going to happen to get some changes? Like what has to happen? And you mentioned Burleson and Yepes and Moises Gomez. All three of those guys
Or the
are
same
young,
player.
but they're the exact same prototype, man.
And
And
I'd take Luke and Baker. He can at least, I guess, play first a little bit.
yeah. Out of those three, who would you take? Because I know we've seen Burleson and Yepes. I'm leaning Moises Gomez though, and it's
Yeah,
probably because we
same.
haven't seen him yet. Maybe he's
Honestly,
fine.
yes. I honestly, if you want my real opinion, Oscar Mercado over all of them,
Mm. Yeah.
personally. Just because they're supposed to be like hitters, but they hit 220. I'd rather have a guy, Mercado, who's honestly hit decent, doesn't hit for as much power, but provides speed and defense.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
You
see.
also want to hear something that makes this even worse. Let me just list off the Nationals lineup as they have a better win percentage than they did. This was their lineup yesterday or whenever the last game was. So the leadoff hitter is Lane Thomas. Next is I don't even know this guy's first name. Garcia,
Luis, I
some
think.
Luis Garcia, Joey Meneses, who's actually a young guy, he's actually playing pretty good. Jose Candelario is their cleanup hitter. We have Nolan Arenado, and our second hitter is Goldschmidt. And then batting fifth, the former Cardinal Corey Dickerson, stud. Then seventh, Kyber Ruiz, and then Dom Smith. I believe he's on the Nationals. CJ Abrams, who's like a top prospect, he's been eighth, and then some guy I've never heard of, Call. And they have, I think, one more game than us, maybe two. Let's see. Let's make sure. Let's double check. They have okay. They have one game. They're 26 and 38. So they've have one less game won, but they've also lost less than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still a
So
better winning
they've
percentage.
played less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's yes, it's really bad, man. Third worst team in the league. Um, we can move on to more positivity, I guess. Oh, there was one other thing with the Cardinals I had to mention. You signed Contreras. Have you seen what Ivan Herrera's been doing in AAA?
Is he playing
Ripping it.
good?
Oh, unbelievable. He's batting like
Call him up.
295. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you have to trade Kisner and give
Honestly,
Herrera.
though, Kisner's like the one clubhouse guy that's like keeping all the energy. Like if you
Yeah,
hear
he
from
has.
all the, I say trade Contreras. I'm done with him already. I never liked him to begin with. He's a Cub. Should have traded for Sean Murphy.
Sean's having a good year too.
But
Let
I will say Matthew Liberatore did pitch good yesterday. 6 innings, two
mhm.
earned, two walks, five strikeouts, and got. Of course, we lost. I feel like every single game we pitched like decent.
We're starting pitching's coming around. That's the most frustrating part too. Is that the
Wayno
pitching
gave
was
up
the
three earned.
issue.
That's not bad.
No. Yeah, Montgomery's been solid. Flaherty's been great lately.
Michaelis gave up five, but he'd been solid. Flaherty's
Yeah.
been really good lately, so I'm excited to see how he does. Montgomery did good.
Well, Flaherty's leaving
I
in the
will say it is
offseason
nice to
for
see
sure.
Carlson back in the lineup.
Yeah, Carlson, not only just that stability of a guy that you can know
Mhm.
is a everyday outfielder, but he has been producing too since he came back.
Yeah, he's been playing
Um,
good.
but we can move on to our three things that kind of caught our eye this last week and weekend. I have one that blew my mind. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has two homers in his last 32 games. This season, this is crazy. He has no homers at home. He has not hit a homer
Really?
in Rogers
How
Center,
many
where it's a
homers does he
very
have?
that's the thing. His numbers aren't bad. So he's batting 283 with 9 homers and 40 RBIs at 800 OPS. That's not what you expect out of Vladdy, but it's
Yeah,
not bad numbers. And they're obviously been solid enough, 5, 6 games over. But no homers at Rogers Center is very weird to me. That's a place that's very homer
yeah,
friendly.
that's
So
really
that kind of blew
weird.
my mind. Another cool stat here. Shohei Ohtani becomes the third player in MLB history to hit 20 homers and have 100 strikeouts in a season. He joins
He already
Shohei
has that?
Ohtani. Yeah, yeah, he hit his
Oh yeah,
20th
and he
last.
leads the American League in homers. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. So he joins. I said he's the third player ever. He joins Shohei Ohtani and Shohei Ohtani as the three players to ever do that.
I honestly, I say let's trade everyone for him. He offers
This is-
pitching and hitting.
he's he's in a spot though. The Angels are in a spot where they're I think 6 games over or so, and so they're if
They
they
should
keep doing
buy.
this, and yeah, they're going to be buyers. So
Their
that's
offense honestly isn't bad. Like
no.
Renfro's been playing good. I say they got to go for like I would go for Cease with them or like
Mm-hmm.
the lefty from Detroit, which we'll probably get, or we'll get like Rich Hill, who's on Pittsburgh,
Yeah, he's
but we'll
50.
trade him like Tink Hence, and then he'll something dumb like that.
And my third thing was, it actually happened last night. JT Realmuto hits for the cycle versus the Diamondbacks. It is the first Philly to hit a cycle since David Bell, former Cardinal, current Reds manager in
Yeah.
2004. So that's
Wow.
my three things, and I actually have one more, but I'm gonna see what if you say it first, and then I'll if
I
you do.
honestly didn't have any three things going into this, but I guess a couple things I didn't realize until I looked at the home run leaders is Max Muncy and Kyle Schwarber are both hitting under 200. That's
Well
crazy.
under 200. Yeah, it's been a rough.
That's, and Schwarber still has they both have OPSs over 700, so like above average, which is so funny. I guess one of my things was we really didn't talk about it too much, but Ellie De La Cruz, whoa, he's fast.
Electric,
We saw him.
electric, dude.
I told my mom, I'm like, you got to go to the games this weekend to see Ellie De La Cruz. And 2 games she went to, they lost. So I think also part of the Cardinals' problems is my mom has not seen him win a lot when she goes. So she may boycott
Stay
them a
home,
little
Mrs.
bit.
Harms. Stay home.
Yes. But he's been playing crazy. He's going to be so good. It's kind of crazy to think that in the NL Central we have Jordan Walker, O'Neal Cruz, and Ellie De La Cruz, all super young guys. And then there's even more younger guys on all those teams that Mason Wynn or uh Encarnacion Strand for that name before he's on Cincinnati's AAA who
Yeah.
can hit. So it's exciting. Everyone has good young hitting and pitching prospects. We really just have hitting.
I know. We need to change that.
which is
The
different.
one
We used to
thing,
always be, if you look at some
yeah,
of our lineups from like when we made it to the World Series in like 2013, you'd be like, what?
I know. I
It's
know.
crazy.
That's kind of the point I was making after Oscar passed away. We went from that team that just had we had superstars, Albert, Holiday, Berkman is
We
at
just
the end, but
manufactured runs. I feel like we still rely now on hitting a dinger. Just
for sure.
just put it in place, see what happens. Cause
The one thing
chaos.
that I didn't know if you were going to mention it or not, and I'm glad you didn't because I kind of wanted to take credit for saying it here. The Oakland Athletics have won
God, I was
six.
going to. I
I should have
You go
waited.
ahead.
I couldn't hold it back anymore.
No, I thought of it when I was talking, and then I started going on something a tangent, then forget.
The floor is yours. Then I'll give you the runway.
Are you talking about how they're gonna pack the stadium? Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I was just going to talk about the A's.
Oh, just how bad they are. Oh, I was gonna talk
Yeah.
about how so is our things are different. How they are scheduling to do a reverse boycott to show that it's not the fans' fault for why um like why no one's there or why the team's bad. Like basically saying that it's the ownership's fault and why they're moving to Vegas, not the fans' fault, because a lot of them just aren't going to the games because they don't want to one pay money to the owners who just basically just put a crappy
Mhm.
team out every year and wanted to move. So they're doing a reverse boycott either today, sometime this week, which would be kind of cool to see them completely fill the stadium.
I didn't even know that until you just said that.
Mhm.
That's pretty kind of cool actually. No,
Yeah.
I was just going to talk about how they've won six straight games and
Have
they're
they
red hot
actually?
right now. Yeah,
Let's go.
that's the
Oh
that's the big
God,
thing for me.
what's
They swept the Brewers. Yeah, they're only like 16 and 50 or something like
they're
that now.
18 and 50. Okay,
Yeah.
they are. If they get 9 wins and we lose 9 in a row, we will have the same record. So that's another way to look at how bad our
Yeah,
season's going.
keep an eye on it. Yeah, when's
Yeah.
the last time the Cardinals had like a top 5 draft pick? I don't want to get into that conversation, but that's something to keep an eye on.
I don't think we've ever had the
Um,
number 1 overall pick. I know that.
no, I'm sure we haven't. There's no way. But no, the A's swept the Brewers, and then who are they playing right now? Oh man, they're playing somebody right now that's a solid team too.
Let me click on their name.
I just saw last night. I
All
can't think
right,
of it.
let's
You'll pull it
see.
up here.
Mm,
But yeah, they swept the Brewers, and now they're um
okay.
won a few against the
Tampa. They won. Beat Tampa Bay yesterday.
Tampa Bay.
They
Yeah,
won two
they.
against Pittsburgh, swept the Milwaukee, then one against Tampa. Shows how great the NL Central is.
I think they also beat Atlanta the series before, maybe the series before that, a couple 2 out of 3 as well. So like they're beating Atlanta, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay. I had to whisper Pittsburgh there because I don't feel too confident putting them with
Yeah,
the others.
they
But
won 2 out of 3 against Atlanta.
yeah, so look at Oakland. Look at Oakland. A bunch of nobodies getting it done.
Also,
Even
you know something else crazy? Sorry, I just thought of this. Let me get back to standings. Another thing that kind of a stab to the chest is the Miami Marlins are 37 and 30, and their manager is Skip Schumacher.
Mhm. I'm telling you, there's not one single
Continue.
thing besides Gorman's improvement. There's not one single thing you can look at and be like, man, I'm really proud of that working out. From the
Yeah.
Jordan Walker sundown to Contreras to Goldie and Arenado being just like Goldie's had a good year, but it's not his
Hmm.
MVP year.
Yeah.
And Arenado's been elite like he has been these last 10 games where he's been invisible and making
Hmm.
miscues in the field. It's just a very frustrating is the best word I can think of when it comes to the Cardinals is just 13 games under
Fire everyone.
67 games into the season. So we're
13
14
games
games
under.
away.
Oh my God.
We're 14 games from being at the halfway point in the season. So let's see let's see if we can do anything.
I
We
don't even
have
want any of our players to go to the All-Star game just to prove a point.
we'll have to do that in a couple weeks here. Come up with our all-star teams
Because the
because the
first ballot or the
Cardinals
first voting came out, I think, a couple days ago.
Yeah, I think Gorman's the only one. Maybe Goldie. I'd have to look at the rest of the first
Arenado's
basemen around the
leading in
league.
third base votes right now in NL,
Mm, don't know how I feel about that.
which no other NL third baseman's really doing good.
That's
Austin
yeah,
Riley isn't doing good. Machado,
that's
um,
true.
can't name another. So
That's true. That's true. But that wraps it up for episode 89. If you guys have not checked out our Houston Texans episode breaking down their 2023 season, make sure to go do that. And we will actually be out with the Arizona Cardinals
better
on
do it.
Friday. We'll be out with the Arizona Cardinals on Friday as well. So everybody have a great weekend. This is our last full episode before
Hopefully, the Cardinals get a
our
winning streak by the
trips.
next time we do a full
Hopefully,
episode.
man. It'll
Praise
be
the
about
Lord
2 weeks.
Almighty.
It'll be about 2 weeks. We're giving St. Louis 2 weeks to turn it
I
around
will
here. So
convert to Buddhism if just to get him to win.
I don't know if I'll do that, but I applaud the I applaud you for that. But everybody have a great weekend and week while we're gone here, and we'll see you guys for the NFL episodes.
See you guys.